You know, for me, it's just too much of a coincidence. I'm listening to some German music, and they're mentioning Frankie and Colorado, and right away I got to thinking Franklin D. Roosevelt, Colorado. When Franklin D. Roosevelt was in office, it was the end of a cycle of 72 years, which happens 5 times a year, 360 degrees. There's always that 5 days left over. So when you think there's 1.5 and the moon is short, I don't think so. We're running condensed days. Besides that, I haven't done that video. So right away, it's singing in German about Colorado, which is Herbert Hoover, which is everything to do with the Twin Towers. Herbert Hoover was the last section in between at 1933. There were 7 more years to go, and that's the ending cycle. 18 years later, after 1945, and Truman left office. Was it Truman left office? Was that what I was on again? Franklin D. Roosevelt, sorry, not Truman. So 18 years later after that, okay, which is prime time, you're dead center of the turnaround again. You're in number 4.5. That's what it is. And boom, 1963, JF Kennedy, and he's not conforming. He's not conforming to the biggest part before the turnaround. But the biggest jump is 1963. And the Beatles came out and everybody else because everybody started to see underneath. See, before this world was full, it wasn't full at all. They couldn't put people under the ground if there weren't any drain pipes for the rest of the people. They had to build from the top to the bottom. In most instances, you'll say from the build of the bottom up. The Bilderbergs of the bottom up, inside this planet. Whatever they might mean is you go 18 years later, and it's 1981. Now you go 31 years later, and the 31st president is Herbert Hoover again. 13 presidents later is Barack Obama. 72 years later, after 1940, which was also 1868. What happened in 1868? Around there, give or take 7 years for the cycle. Whoops, too bad. 1876 was 90 years before. That was the corner angle, one turn. 90 degrees, 72 times 5 degrees, around 3 to get 360 degrees. Nautical miles, kilometers versus Fahrenheit, all a long run to mix us up from the next letter of A, B, C, D. Because that's all they talk is they just reformatted again. A, B, C, D. I was working on this and that. Let me see if I have anything to present. Done a lot of pages, but I was working, everybody knows pi. So what I did is I went 1, 4, 4, 1, 1, 5, 5, 9, and it says to be endowed. Wooden men or women. K's K, or it says, yeah, cousin, acts like you know it when we sit down. Where does all this come from? The letters, just the numbers of the letters in the combination. End, angel, Owen, west, east, north. There is no south. South is beneath the ground. But there's a north because there's a north up and there's an up north. There's a west and there's a west up and there's an east and there's a southeast, but there's no really south. So it's telling us this is the cousin act, where we split bodies. One stays up here and plays and one stays down here. But in the period of time, is the more electricity you get and the more fun you have, the less connection you have with the other worlds. Let alone to even know you have a connection with something else out there. Let alone to think you're not even here and you're just out there. But in this world, you got to pretend. You got to pretend. You're not allowed to be anywhere else. Where am I? I'm up there, one of the planets. They lowered down today, so I jumped on. So leave me be. Oh, it's nice up there. When I do my art, and stuff, the minute I see a shadow or a line, right away I know it's a reason to have it. So I'm going to follow it and see if I can make something out of it. Everybody does know this trick already. You see, this turns, but this turns this 360 degrees. It's not turning anything in the center. But when the shaft come in, the shaft sides will turn, and it'll be the center of that shaft, 0.25, 5 by 5 by 5 angle inside to make the point center of the shaft. And then you have the shaft that turns around, and this that turns around, and this is a whole bearing. We just put the earth right on here. Can you put the earth on this angle? No, it'll fall off. It's got to be on an angle, my friends, always on an angle. Anything that comes straight down will come down what they call the vines. You see this? Either you come down on the angle of these points where they open and close, open and close, open and close, or they wind and screw on this angle. Otherwise, you're screwing down. And it's hard to put pressure going down and to screw down. What is faster? Try it out. So anyways, what happens now is when there's thunder and lightning, that can't make it through the small zone of matrix. So it has to force its way in. So everybody's going to say, no, thunder is this and that. Yes, it is. At the final point, when it does make its thunder, it is the elements that everybody says. But before it ever does that, the question is, how come? You know what, I had a funny feeling? I was thinking, I said, you know what? Maybe the sun runs for 7 or 10 days, and then they flip the sun around and they make it the moon, and they show that it's coming to be a full moon, and it fills up with water because it's all hot and it's boiling, so she steams off. Oh, I think I hear the chemtrails right on time, 9:15, just like last night. I hear that plane. They're pushing it out hard now. This is not normal chemtrails that they're doing. This is something I hear the generator. This is a turbine that's working to push this out. I know because I've worked with one. I know the sound. They say I'm okay, soundless. What else was I going to talk about? This $20 bill does not say $20 on it. It says Bank of Canada 20. You want to know where it does say 20? Right in that spot there. But there's only half. You have to put the egg to rest, eh? See the way the dollar bill comes out to an animal, like a pig? Like a pig, they're putting to rest. Everybody knows what's going on in this world. Who is she? Who is she? Okay? She's been on our money forever. Is she really, truthfully, the in-between of the world? She's the royalty. This is who she is. She's come here to make sure nobody takes advantage of the true system. That's why she works with the Pope and collects all that money. So the less money everybody has, the easier it is to control the animals in the kingdom. You get what I say? She's on this side, on that side, on this side, on that side. She's not on any side. This is the tone I want to take right now. I could say another story, but this is the tone I want to take. Okay? One of the reasons I think they lost the young one is because she wanted everybody to know. She thought it was time everybody should know we'll be able to handle it. Well, isn't it retarded? Okay? If everything was true and everything that everybody does is not true, wouldn't you want to know? Tell me there's an alien being that's going to come and attack us? Well, big deal. We've been in the Galactica for years. We've been in front of those aliens for years. They're just like down the street neighbors. You're making like it's a single ship that's coming in. What, just because we saw Star Trek go in a single ship and he never came back forever, it's like, hey man, yeah, where did we get the food from? But you did see down in Matrix 2, they did have a home zone. Do you ever think about Matrix and those animals that jumped on the ship? Maybe that ship was electronic, and when they were in that ship, they're actually very, very small. Trying to think. Those animals that came and eat them. Like Trojan horses, that's what they were. Trojan horses inside of your computer trying to attack. It was a word. They were sending out a word. I was just listening to some German, and I heard English in it. I heard Hebrew in it. Where did English come from? Are we supposed to speak a lot of English? Because the telephone keeps saying the wolf on it. Okay, my telephone says wolf all over the place. 666 wolf, 666 wolf, and excuse me, fox, and the orange fox. The English, they chase it. So is she part of the English? Or like she comes from Great Britain. Like I'm a little confused. I'm gonna have to do a little studying on this. Jump into another boat. Another thing was I cut the card in half. You notice one is round, one is pointy, one is pointy, one is pointy, because you have to cut it off the corner where the circle is. That's where the center is. It has to be just off near the bottom of the spade. And I mean, I don't know if you can see it, but she's controlling, let me turn it upside down. She's on this side controlling everything that's on that side. She. So that means the in-between right now is here. She's not in between where the governments would be right here. But she has to just come and wipe this one out. And then we're on our own bicycle path with no one in our way. Anyways, that didn't work out. Drop that one. All right. Got to go back, get something to eat. Take care now, my friends. Raphael 7286. Letting it all hang loose, but not too much new. But a lot new. But now I'm starting not to like this cassette. But I have to. Part of the diaries. Empty my diuretic mind. Just empty out shit. Put it somewhere, or I can listen to it instead of having to read it with my eyes. Mind you, probably better to read it with my eyes. Don't read with my eyes, I read with my brain. My brain is on vacation. 7286, thank you. The book. Haven't given it a name yet. It's all about the myth of Zazara. It's all about the mystery of every line and dot and angle of 360 degrees, 360 degrees. 300, is that the way you do it? Do you got to do it all the way around 8 and then multiply it by 450? Isn't this video over? I thought I was talking to myself. All right, this is done.